Gentlemen, let me remind you of something powerful. Connection is not built on grand gestures alone, but on the quiet details you may often overlook. The truth is, women carry within them a language of subtlety, a form of silent seduction that isn't always spoken, but always present for those who choose to notice. A glance, a pause in conversation, the way she tucks her hair behind her ear or leans just a little closer. These are signals wrapped in silence, yet they speak volumes to the attentive man. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being steady enough to read between the lines. Women admire the man who sees beyond words, who notices the unspoken gestures that reveal interest, respect, and trust. You must train your eyes and heart to listen to silence, because in those quiet spaces lies the essence of true connection. What you must understand is this: the real secret isn't manipulation, it's presence. Women are not impressed by someone who tries to rush or force attraction. Instead, they are drawn to the man who can hold steady eye contact without flinching, who smiles with sincerity, who carries himself with ease, and who listens not to respond, but to understand. The unspoken seduction lies in patience, in confidence without arrogance, in charm without desperation. Women rarely tell you these things because they want you to feel them, not hear them. If you learn to value silence, if you learn to lean into the subtle instead of chasing the obvious, you will realize the most powerful form of attraction is not loud, flashy, or demanding. It is quiet, magnetic, and undeniable. Now go forward with awareness. The secrets are already in front of you, if only you choose to see them. Confidence is quiet strength. True confidence comes from presence and steadiness, not loudness or arrogance. Attentive observation builds connection. Men who notice small, unspoken details can create deeper bond. Presence over pressure. Genuine attraction grows from patience and authenticity, not force or manipulation. Listening is powerful. Women are drawn to men who listen to understand, not just to reply. Subtle seduction is magnetic. The strongest form of attraction is quiet, natural, and undeniable. Silent signals are one of the most powerful and underrated forms of communication in attraction. Women often express interest, not by directly stating it, but through small, subtle gestures that carry more meaning than words ever could. A glance held a second longer, a soft smile that lingers, the way she adjusts her posture when you walk into the room, or how her voice softens when speaking to you. These are cues that signal attention, curiosity, and connection. They are not loud announcements. They are quiet invitations waiting to be noticed. The reason silent signals matter so much is because they reveal what words might hide. Many women will not openly declare attraction, but their body language, energy, and presence will naturally shift around someone they are drawn to. If you fail to recognize these signals, you may miss opportunities for deeper connection. On the other hand, if you train yourself to be attentive, you begin to understand the unspoken language of attraction, which allows you to respond with confidence and sensitivity. It's important to remember that paying attention to silent signals doesn't mean over-analyzing or assuming too much. Instead, it means being present enough to notice patterns. Does she lean in when you speak? Does she play with her hair or mirror your movements? Does she maintain eye contact with a spark of curiosity? Each of these subtle signs is like a whisper of interest. By learning to value these small gestures, you show respect for her natural way of expressing herself. Silent signals are not games. They are genuine expressions of emotion. The man who can recognize and respond to them with warmth and confidence sets himself apart. Attraction begins in silence, and the ability to notice it is the first step to mastering connection. Confidence is not about being the loudest voice in the room or trying to dominate attention. It is about carrying yourself with a calm, steady presence that naturally earns respect. Quiet strength speaks louder than noise because it shows security, self-belief, and control. Women are not drawn to arrogance or inflated egos. They are drawn to men who are sure of themselves without needing to prove it. True confidence radiates through posture, eye contact, tone of voice, and the way you handle situations without unnecessary drama. When you walk into a room, your energy is felt before you even say a word. If you are grounded, relaxed, and composed, people gravitate toward you. Women especially notice the man who does not chase attention, but attracts it by simply being comfortable in his own skin. This quiet assurance suggests that you are capable of handling challenges, making decisions, and standing firm in who you are. It is the opposite of insecurity, which often shows itself in trying too hard, talking too much, or seeking constant validation. Quiet confidence also builds trust. A woman feels more secure around a man who doesn't overreact, who listens before speaking, and who maintains his composure in both good and difficult moments. That steadiness creates an environment of safety, which is a foundation for attraction. Ultimately, confidence without arrogance is what separates leaders from followers, and genuine charm from empty showmanship. You do not need to be the loudest or the flashiest to win attention. You only need to be authentic, consistent, and self-assured. When you embody this quiet strength, you become magnetic, because women recognize that true confidence is not shouted, it is silently felt, and it leaves a lasting impression. Attentive observation is one of the most valuable skills a man can develop when it comes to building meaningful connections. It goes beyond simply looking at someone. It's about truly noticing the small details that often go unnoticed. Women communicate a lot through subtle gestures, expressions, and behaviors, and the man who pays attention to these nuances demonstrates that he values them as individuals, not just as a presence in his life. Recognizing these quiet signals shows empathy, awareness, and emotional intelligence, all of which are deeply attractive qualities. Observation allows you to respond appropriately to her moods, interests, and unspoken needs. For example, noticing that she tends to play with a necklace when nervous, or that she smiles slightly differently when genuinely amused, gives you insight into her feelings. These are not just random actions. They are windows into her inner world. By acknowledging and responding to these cues thoughtfully, you build trust and rapport without needing to force conversation or prove your worth. Being attentive also helps you avoid common mistakes, like missing signals of discomfort or interest. Women may not always verbalize how they feel, but consistent observation helps you navigate interactions with respect and sensitivity. It allows you to align your behavior in a way that resonates with her energy and intentions. Moreover, observation strengthens your own awareness and presence. It trains you to live in the moment, rather than rushing through interactions or overthinking outcomes. When you genuinely notice and respond to the subtleties of her behavior, you demonstrate patience and care, qualities that create a magnetic attraction that words alone cannot achieve. Ultimately, attentive observation is about valuing depth over surface. It transforms ordinary encounters into meaningful connections, and the man who masters this skill gains a profound advantage in understanding, relating to, and attracting women naturally. Presence over pressure is a principle that can transform the way you connect with women. Many men make the mistake of trying too hard, pushing conversations or forcing attention in an attempt to create attraction. This approach often backfires because it communicates neediness rather than confidence. True connection, however, is cultivated through calm, consistent presence, not through urgency or insistence. Being present means fully engaging in the moment, appreciating the interaction for what it is, and responding naturally, rather than trying to manipulate outcomes. When you focus on presence, you show that you are comfortable in your own skin. Women can sense when a man is relaxed, patient, and secure, and this creates a magnetic energy that draws them in. Presence allows you to listen deeply, notice subtle cues, and respond thoughtfully, all of which foster genuine attraction. On the other hand, pressure often leads to misreading signals, creating tension, and pushing someone away. It sends the message that your value depends on immediate results, rather than on who you are as a person. Patience is a key part of present. Attraction cannot be rushed, and attempting to accelerate it often undermines the natural flow of interaction. By being patient, you give yourself the opportunity to build trust, rapport and understanding over time. You also allow her to feel safe and appreciated, rather than evaluated or pursued aggressively. Ultimately, presence over pressure is about embodying calm confidence. It's about valuing the quality of connection over the quantity of outcome. The man who masters this principle becomes magnetic not because he forces attention, but because he naturally exudes steadiness, authenticity and respect. Women are drawn to presence because it feels genuine, effortless and deeply reassuring, a silent yet undeniable form of attraction. Listening is one of the most powerful tools in building attraction, yet it is often overlooked. Many men focus so much on what they will say next, that they forget the real strength lies in how well they listen. Women are naturally drawn to men who listen, not just to reply, but to truly understand. Genuine listening shows respect, patience and emotional awareness, qualities that stand out in a world where most people crave to be heard, but rarely are. When you listen with intent, you go beyond hearing words. You pay attention to tone, pauses, emotions, and even what is left unsaid. This creates a deeper level of connection, because it shows that you are not just waiting for your turn to speak, but that you value her perspective. For women, this is incredibly attractive, because it communicates security and empathy. It assures them that they are engaging with someone who cares about more than just surface-level interactions. Listening also prevents misunderstandings. When you take time to absorb what she says, you respond more thoughtfully, which avoids unnecessary conflicts and shows maturity. It's not about always agreeing, but about acknowledging her feelings and showing that her voice matters. This act alone builds trust, making her feel safe and understood. True listening also allows you to learn more about her world, her passions, her fears, her dream. These details are the foundation for stronger bonds and more meaningful conversations. Over time, they help you connect on a level that goes far beyond casual attraction. In the end, listening is not passive, it is active. Presence. It is one of the clearest demonstrations of quiet confidence. A man who listens deeply doesn't need to prove himself with words, because his attentiveness already speaks volumes. Subtle seduction is a force that works quietly, but leaves a lasting impression. It is not about flashy displays, aggressive pursuit, or overt declarations of interest. It is about the understated ways you demonstrate charm, confidence and authenticity. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude this kind of magnetism, because it feels genuine, effortless, and intriguing. Subtle seduction is about creating an aura that invites curiosity and connection, without forcing it. The key to subtle seduction lies in mastering the small things: a sincere smile, a meaningful glance, a calm and steady voice, or a thoughtful gesture can communicate more than words ever could. It's about showing interest without overwhelming, sharing energy without dominating, and creating moments that make her feel seen and appreciated. These quiet actions accumulate over time, building attraction in a way that feels natural, rather than manufactured. Patience and restraint are central to this approach. Women are more responsive to a man who allows connection to unfold naturally, rather than rushing or demanding attention. Subtle seduction respects her pace and emotional space, which creates a sense of comfort and trust. It also signals that you are confident enough to let the interaction breathe, rather than needing immediate validation or results. Another important aspect is authenticity. Subtle seduction cannot be faked convincingly, because it is rooted in genuine confidence and emotional awareness. When your actions are aligned with who you truly are, they resonate with authenticity, which is far more attractive than any forced charm or rehearsed technique. Ultimately, subtle seduction is about influence without pressure, attraction without arrogance, and connection without pretense. It is a quiet magnetic energy that draws people in naturally. The man who masters this understands that the most powerful forms of attraction are often silent, understated, and impossible to ignore.